we now move on to the next contest. Grapple Kings present one 10-minute round and is sponsored by Flow Recovery Lounge. Please welcome firstly to the red corner, Mark Gallivan. Welcome his opponent into the blue corner, Fraser Clarke.
Ladies and gentlemen, the party has...
That song is called Party Has Begun.
Thank you, Andrew.
From Freestyle.
And thank you, grappling fans, for tuning in here. We're coming towards the end of the single matches on the undercard here. And we have Mark Gallivan versus Fraser Clarke here. Lovely bit of...
Would you expect anything less from a Team Rhino grappler with Paul Redmond in the corner, would you?
And I see he knows his judo well.
Yeah. Well, hopefully...
And a lovely little kind of a banana split, if you want to call it that, to get himself back on top. We are looking at Fraser on the top now. And
Fraser on top, and I'm sure the 10th Planet dictionary has a different word for that move, or a different word every week, but it was a nice sweep to be able to get the top position.
This kind of overhook knee shield position on the bottom, a tricky position to deal with as the top man. I would like to see Mark work to get his head free on the bottom here, and can often shoot some triangles on that. I think we saw an omoplata earlier from a similar position in the Carmody match. Definitely a tricky position to work against. I like to use this leg weave that we're seeing here to try to pass, but I was going to say, when I see that knee shield with the ankles locked together, I feel that the first action or the first intention from the passer should be to try to get those ankles open. I feel pressing
instead of just committing too far forward.
There's a lot of kind of sweeps and off balances that you can hit when you have those ankles crossed. I'm always jealous of that as well, because I feel I don't have the shins for it when I play the knee shield on the bottom. Maybe it's a shin length issue, Andrew.
I feel the best base for a shin knee shield player is probably a career in Muay Thai.
Oh, a career in Muay Thai.
Yeah, just iron shins,
Yeah, true.
We have it very easy over the years.
It's true.
Rolling around in the pajamas.
Yeah. As soft can be. Here we go, though. Here's this omoplata that I talked about earlier. They call me the Oracle.
Yeah. See the way we both said the same word at the same time there.
Of course, I'm referring to the Oracle in the Matrix, the older woman sitting on the bench in the park, and who I see myself as in those situations. She knows it all. She's seen it all already. And look, here we go again. I think if I'm the top fighter here, and I've done a much better job here, forgive me, that is Fraser on the top, yes. Whenever we shoot that underhook after we beat the knee shield, we really have to follow it with the head. And I'm looking at his right arm and right head staying together here a lot more. On his last attempt, he bet the knee shield. Right arm went for the underhook, but head didn't follow. Omoplata, little short kind of shotgun arm bar, some people like to call that. Made popular by
Rafa Mendes.
Oh, I was going to say Marcelo Garcia, to be honest.
Yeah, two of the greats. It's all right. Mark's looking for this Kimura grip. He did a much better job of not having his head control there. I feel like he has enough in the tank here to bring the knees to the chest. He may instigate a reversal from here as he looks towards Paul Redmond.
And this, the allure of the Kimura from the bottom half guard can often be compared to perhaps a sailor at sea hearing the call of a siren or a mermaid. It can seem so enticing and so, but it's few and far between.
And it can drag you into the depths of the sea very quickly. A step over armbar could be there.
Exactly. Or some type of, you give up a lot of upper body control. Another way I like to describe that technique is it's kind of at the end of a branch. If you want to think about your closed guard, you could branch to an armbar, to a back take. I feel the Kimura from the bottom half guard doesn't really feed into too much apart from the Kimura from the bottom half guard. Now, in saying that, I like to use it myself a little bit to try to create a little bit of uncertainty or to change the focus shift in the match a little bit, but I'm not finishing too many of them. Not finishing too many of them at all. And here we go. The left arm position now that we're left with for Mark on the bottom is kind of a product of that height. He wants to reach and frame in front of that face. I actually much prefer that left arm shooting for the underhook, that left arm shooting for down towards his own knee there in that position.
I feel like Fraser had a very nice position to risk the pass from there because he had the underhook and the head control. Interesting foot on the bicep approach here.
Very interesting.
Wrist lock. If you're really
very interesting.
Highlight reel here.
Something I don't think I've ever seen before. I wonder is the he was still controlling the wrist as he was stepping on the bicep. I wonder is that a
probably to stop any sort of real movement that can happen from Mark to pull it out.
Lovely bit of innovation there. One thing I think we could see a little bit more of in some of the matches tonight from the passer in these situations, well, is let's have tried to avoid this omoplata first, but disengaging and re-engaging when the terms are a little bit better.
Well, the Oracle nearly called it correctly in terms of Mark wanting to look for an omoplata from the bottom.
I could smell it a mile away.
It just seemed like that when he was trying to come up from that position, he wasn't controlling the lower back or the hip, so it just turned into too much of a rolling situation where he was able to come up.
I had a great teacher before in the form of a Californian gentleman, Wolf Barnato, a friend.
Internet legend.
Yeah, is he an internet legend?
Yeah.
A big Wolf. And he omoplata specialist, and he talked about the omoplata as a position of control and a sweep or a path to the back rather than a submission. And north-south.
It did seem like it was coming through under as if it was Mark had turned onto his shoulder and then bailed back out onto his side here, but
could set up a darce here on this top arm.
You can continue your Wolf Go story.
Just referring to the omoplata as kind of what we saw tonight. It's a great path to the top. It's a great path to. It's not so often that you see the finish from the omoplata.
Not at all, but over the years, Jiu-Jitsu has had outliers or people who are specialists at certain positions. A man you referenced earlier on, Andrus Banovskis, owner of a great omoplata, a lot of wins by omoplata as well. Clark Gracie, famous pictures of him looking handsome, hanging off people.
Extremely handsome gentleman. I wonder, is there a correlation between handsomeness and finishing rates for omoplata submissions? Something to look into. Again, it's grapple.kings@gmail.com if you have any insight on that.
If you'd like to do a bit of research on our behalf. And
please.
The domain, I have it on good authority, the domain is still available, grapplekings.ie.
I want to take this opportunity now to. I'd love to see a boogie choke tonight, Andrew. I would absolutely love to see one. Just
we did have one at the last one.
We did have one at the last one.
We did have one at the last one, yeah. And I saw one or two attempted at Grappling Industries yesterday up in Belfast. They make me think that the person's about to snap their ACL when I watch it a lot of the time. It makes me uncomfortable, but it's a great submission.
A great submission. Done correctly. Not much pressure on the knee now, I have to say. I've started to add them into him as a frequent flyer.
Up, are you?
Yeah, I find myself more often than I'd enjoy in the bottom side control these days. Mark here, spending a lot of time on the bottom in this round, certainly seems to favour the half guard position, but is fighting a kind of an uphill battle because he's Fraser doing very well to keep him on his back. The half guard nowhere near as effective when you as the bottom player are 2 shoulders on the floor. And even here, this close guard, I'm feeling kind of safe if I'm on the top, if my opponent's hips are staying still, if they're flat, But here we go, look, back in the half guard. This could be this omoplata, this could be this triangle on the other side. He really needs to wrist fight and hand fight with that right hand of his. Yes, you can see him looking for that triangle. If he gets onto that right hip again, I think this could certainly be a goer for him. You can catch yourself out sometimes as well, like by watching this fight.
Showing your hand early.
Yes, exactly. Here, look, here we go.
Good entry into the omoplata. He should be thinking of using it to come up on top.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got his hand on the wrong side here. Frustrated, which is always, always a big boost for your competitor. You can't really show signs of frustration like that. A match like that is so much about getting a read of your opponent and
early on. Yeah. And if we were going to look at it at an early stage, it wasn't until the last 2 minutes that Fraser actually scored points, until he passed the guard.
Yeah.
And Mark would have had the throw from early on. Now, Fraser would have swept back as well early to get the bottom. But
would have liked to see him maybe commit to those omoplata triangle attacks a little bit more, a little bit harder.
As we await this decision to be made official, grappling fans, stay tuned as we have the Gi 4-man semi-final starting next.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 minutes of action, we go to the judges' scorecards. For your winner by unanimous decision, Fraser Clarke.